As always, thanks to our Patreon supporters, Matt J., Carson C., Claire G., Jacqueline M., James P., and Mike L. If you would like to support us on Patreon and listen to us talk about the first Back to the Future movie, go to patreon.com/whatweremember. Thanks.
I'm going to tilt my mic a little bit so I can kind of lean.
So we can have a little conversation.
So I can lean towards you.
We can have a little
convo.
A little bit of
convo in the corner.
A little bit of conversation, a little bit of action.
All this aggravation and
Good
satisfaction.
A little bit of time. See, Andy Huber doesn't make the song.
The song part of the podcast is you and I.
Yeah, he just like he joined in on the last one, but it's
little
few and
bit
far
bark,
between.
a little bit bite.
My name is Bradley Jones.
I'm Andrew Moldenhauer.
And this is not a movie review podcast, but a podcast where we try to remember what happened in a movie we haven't seen in a very, very long time. This is what we remember about Back to the Future 2.
Were there 2 or 3 bad guys in Home Alone? And who was that forgetful fish in Finding Nemo? Join us as we're watching films. See what we remember and what memories we kill. Let's start the show. Here we go. This is what we remember.
This is a live recording of What We Remember at the Maynard Theater in Royal Oak, Michigan. How are you doing, Andy?
Doing great. Having a blast.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Having a good time? It's bumping. It's bumping here tonight. Real excited.
It is.
I'm really excited to
A lot
talk
of
about
people
Back to the
out to
Future
see
2.
Back to the Future. This movie is a freaking classic.
This movie is so good, but we're not here to talk about that movie. We're here to talk about another movie.
Yes.
A sequel to this movie.
So this movie starts the same way.
Whoa, we got to plug the fact that you can listen to the Back to the Future 1
yes.
if you go to patreon.com/whatweremember
That's true.
Okay.
You have to be a Patreon member.
to hear the very first episode of Back to the Future.
So we've already done Back to the Future 1.
Yep, so if you're asking
We're not gonna
where's
repeat
that,
that.
one, why'd they jump to 2, that's the reason.
Yeah.
Now how does this movie open?
This movie opens the same way that the first one ends.
You got it.
So
But there is one change.
Elizabeth Shue?
Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah. She
Jennifer
has
is
replaced.
gone. Yep. Out with the old, in with the shoe.
There it is.
I think I said that in the first part.
Well, only 5 people heard it because there are only 5 Patreon
Out with
supporters.
the old, in with the shoe. But the scene is shot almost exact.
Shot for shot, yeah.
It's very close, if not the same.
So Doc Brown comes in with the new time machine.
Yes. It has the Mr. Coffee.
Yeah.
It doesn't need plutonium anymore. It runs off
Runs off
nuclear
garbage.
waste. Mm-hmm. He loads it up with banana peels and whatever you just find in the trash can. It seems great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he says, Marty, you have to come to the future.
It's your kids.
It's your kids.
It's your kids, Marty.
So that's the first clue for me as I was trying to remember what happens in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Something happens with his kids.
Something happens with his kids.
So they immediately go
To the future.
to the future. What do they go to 2015?
Oh, boy. That's a good question. I'd say, yeah.
That's the future.
Or 2025 or 2015.
No, because everyone made a big deal about this 2 years ago. I think they
then
went
yeah.
to 2015.
It would make sense because 30 years ago would be the past and 30 years would be the future. So the whole movie
There
takes
you go.
place within a 60-year time span.
Yes,
Okay.
that makes sense.
So they're in the future. Are they in the? Do they start in the alley?
I thought that they...
Because I know Marty has to get new clothes because he would look out of place
Right.
in the future.
So I think what happens is they pull into an alley, but
Yeah.
is his girlfriend Jennifer? That's her name?
Jennifer is her name, played by Elizabeth Shue.
Doesn't she immediately pass out or something like that?
So this is, okay. She passes out, but is it in the DeLorean or does she pass out when she gets to the house?
No, I think it happens twice. I
Okay.
think she passes out in the DeLorean and they decide to throw her in the back seat for now.
Jennifer might be unconscious for
Most of the
all
movie.
of like 90% of the film.
She's so
that
irrelevant,
she's in
I
it.
guess.
Yeah. There's one part where she screams at her future self, but that's
Yeah.
like all she does in the movie.
I did remember that after deep thinking.
Yeah.
So they throw her into the back of the DeLorean, and then from there, they go around town.
Well, they travel through time.
They travel through time.
And why does she? Why would she pass out? Why did she pass out then?
I couldn't think of that.
Yeah. Maybe
So
they don't start in the alley. Maybe they go to their house first.
I don't
They leave her unconscious somewhere. It's
They
very
do.
poor.
They
thinking.
leave her in the alley for sure. I know
Okay,
that is a
well,
fact.
they
I
leave
don't
her
know
all
why
alone.
she passes out though.
I don't know either. Is she just
I think
so
she's just like stunned.
shocked?
She's stunned that she's in the future.
She's future shocked.
It's a future shock situation.
Okay, so let's get Marty in the sweet tie-dye jacket that
Yep.
auto drives.
No, it's a
itself.
tie-dye hat, and then it's a red jacket that has super long sleeves that are like retractable or something like that.
Well, he has dry cleaning. He gets wet, and in the whole suit cleans itself.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Dry cleaning enabled. You are dry.
Drying mode on. Jacket drying. Your jacket is now dry.
I think he
Kind of
talks to
remember
him.
that.
And he gets the iconic pump-up self-tying shoes.
Yes, which I heard that Nike last year actually invented them
Yeah.
to try, or 2 years ago to coincide with
Sure.
the anniversary.
I mean, it's been long enough. We should have shoes that lace themselves.
it just makes sense.
It just makes sense. I'm looking like a schlub every morning trying to tie my shoes. It takes a good 5 seconds out of my day that I could be saving if I had these Back to the Future shoes.
You need
It was an April
Velcro
Fool's joke.
shoes.
That'd be such a bummer. They're not even real. I know the hoverboard was fake because they made a fake video about the hoverboard, and Tony Hawk was like, "Oh, it's the wave of the future."
Yeah,
And
I
then-
saw that.
And then people were like, "No, it's
they
not
have a
real.
hoverboard, but it's really bad.
It's not good. It's not a good hoverboard."
Also, don't they have batteries that explode on them?
I would guess so. It's like those Android phones that existed a year or two
Yeah.
ago, made out of the same thing.
You can't bring your hoverboard on a plane.
So here's my big question. I don't know the answer. I'm hoping you do.
Okay.
Doc Brown says they need to save Marty's kids. Why does Marty's kids need saving?
So I can't remember exactly, but I think there's something to do with old Marty. Old Marty is in trouble. I think he's in financial trouble or something.
Old Marty makes a bad business deal in the film.
Yeah,
Because it's out of order, but I can talk to it since we're on the subject.
sure. It's a pivotal thing that we don't know.
Yeah, he comes home from work. He makes himself a drink. On side, they have a television on their wall. There is one of Marty's coworkers named Needles,
Which is Flea from the Red Hot
It's
Chili
just-
Peppers.
yes, on the screen. And Needles wants Marty to invest in this weird stock option, or he has some sort of backdoor information.
He's like the Biff
Involved in the
of,
company.
He's the Biff of Back to the Future 2 for a moment.
Yeah,
For Marty.
yep. But there's Biff in this movie as well. A couple Biffs. There's 3 Biffs in this film. Same Biff. Oh, no, one of them's different. We'll talk about that in a second. There's a lot going on in this film.
Yeah.
So
It's complex.
So Flea calls Marty chicken, which makes him go through with the business deal. But almost seconds after Marty does it, his work calls him, knows he was trying to play with the money or whatever, and he gets fired from his job.
Oh, yeah, because doesn't it come through like a fax or something like that? Or on the screen, it's like, you're fired.
Yeah. So everything in the house is connected. So, a fax machine says you're fired, this says you're fired. Everywhere in the house, it's, very obvious that he's been fired.
Yeah.
And Lorraine, or it's not Lorraine, it's Jennifer at the time. Mm-hmm. What is this all about? What's going on? He's like, I don't know. He's plays it off.
He's
It's it's just a
freaking out,
joke."
but he's trying to play it off.
I think he says it's a joke or something like that.
I think that what actually happens with his kids is his son gets framed for something.
You're right. He goes to jail.
He goes to prison. Yeah, he
But-
goes to jail.
But Marty stops that, and then Biff ends up going to jail. Because he
How
changes
does
the
that
newspaper.
happen?
Okay. I think I might have figured it out. I don't know. Do they have a daughter?
They do have a daughter, and it's Michael J. Fox in a wig.
No.
No, it totally is.
No, it isn't.
100%. No, it is 100% Michael J. Fox playing the daughter, the son, himself,
And the Holy Ghost. Yeah. Why is that?
He plays his future self, the main character version of himself, his son, and his daughter.
Why does that happen? Why don't they just
It's-
get other actors?
You know, it's
Specifically an actor for his son. It would make sense that would be a different actor. Why does he have to?
it's
why
the
is he
same
his own
situation
son?
as a Nutty Professor.
It's a real clump situation going on. For whatever reason, Biff picks on Marty's son, but President Marty stands up to him because he calls him chicken again. Mm-hmm. And that's when they do like the hoverboard race around the neighborhood. Marty goes out into the water. The hoverboard doesn't work because the board doesn't work on water unless you have power.
Hey, McFly, you bojo! The boats don't work on water unless you've got power!
Wait, which Biff are we talking about?
So Biff has a son.
Oh, this
also
is son
played by
Biff.
Biff. Maybe it's still named Biff, the son. I said it as if it's like a creature, but it kind of is. So Biff's son has like a futuristic helmet on. He has the exact same gang members that he did in the 50s. How does that happen? like Billy Zane is back somehow. So like I guess when you have a kid, they can just be exact replicas of you.
Yeah.
According to the Back to the Future line.
Yeah. Because I had this thought too when it switches over to present day 1985 and there is Biff has married his mom. Michael J. Fox should arguably not look the same.
No.
He should not look like himself.
Unless Lorraine and George still had a kid.
That's true.
And then something happened to George, which I think he may be dead in the future. And then Biff moved in on Lorraine.
Okay.
That's possible that happened.
This is so complex.
This is the problem with this time travel film.
Let's jump back a little bit because I have a couple other
future?
things. Well, yeah, to the future. I think what happens after they do arrive in 2015, Marty goes to an antique shop and picks up a sports almanac. And as he's showing it to Doc Brown basically tells him that it's not right.
You shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, he shouldn't be betting to make money and profit off of the DeLorean.
Marty is kind of for doing this. He's like, he doesn't see the problem in it, which is kind of like a weird character thing.
I think he agrees with Doc, but then he puts it in his back pocket.
No.
And he like basically lies to him.
No, you know what happens.
What happens?
Doc Brown throws it in a trash can. Old man Biff finds the almanac, steals the DeLorean, goes back in time, gives it to his younger self.
Yes, I did know all that happened, but I didn't know how it all transpired exactly.
So old man Biff's all hunched over. He's got the makeup in this movie is out of control good.
It is good.
Specifically for old man Biff and Donald Trump Biff, who I'm gonna say is Donald Trump Biff.
Yeah.
Alternate present Biff.
Right.
So they end up saving his kid. I think his kid was gonna go to jail for something that was about to transpire. Instead, Biff gets that super weird, it's almost like a dog. It growls like a hoverboard. It's like this black hoverboard that's powered by electricity.
By growling?
Mm-hmm. All of Biff's henchmen hook up to it.
Okay.
They're flying towards Marty. Marty's like using his foot trying to paddle away.
Oh, yes.
He can't quite do it. Right before Biff gets to Marty, Marty just jumps off. Biffs it.
Okay.
As per his name, goes over and falls into another manure truck. And he ends up going to jail for something that Marty was about to do.
Which would have been
Or not
what?
Marty, Marty's son.
What would that have been that caused him to go to jail?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's just a piece we don't know.
I think he may have gotten a fight with Biff, and then that's what got him in trouble. I don't know. But future Marty's son is a dweeb.
He is, and I think even Marty says,
He's
my son is a dork.
He's a spineless dweeb.
Yeah.
And maybe he even has like a weird hat and outfit on too.
His son?
Yeah.
Oh, his son has the clothes on. I think what happens is Marty ends up dressing up like his son, and then
on purpose? Accident.
And then goes back to his home in 2015.
Okay.
Or
that
maybe,
makes sense.
Maybe Doc goes to... Oh, man,
I don't know. They end up at that house for just a moment.
They do it at the house, and then from there, we get to
this
see
movie.
that whole dynamic, that's where we see that Flea fight, or has this business deal with...
Do you remember what George looks like in the future?
Not Crispin Glover, that's for sure.
He is Crispin Glover.
Is it really?
Yeah, but he's upside down.
He is upside down.
On some sort of like weird futuristic wheelchair, I guess? Hover chair?
Yeah, I don't know why he's upside down.
I don't know either. But they cook a pizza, and it's like a little tiny
It's a
pizza
pill.
that they put in a microwave, and it makes a big pizza.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's also, I think which was really neat about the future, the food comes out of the sky. Like there's a table, but you just grab what you want like above it, and there's a trash in the middle of the table. I remember this very vividly for no good reason, but that is what like future eating. They wanted to show you like, oh, this is how dining in the future is gonna be.
Yeah, it's not though.
Not at all.
I'm still waiting for them to make the pill that turns into a pizza.
I want the pizza pill really bad. That would be number one thing.
Now, at this point, the police find the DeLorean, I believe, in the alley, don't they? They find
Biff
the DeLorean
steals
and then
it.
they find Jennifer in it,
Yes.
and they're able to identify her
Yes.
as Jennifer and
Yes.
take her back to the home.
That happens.
And this is where she
100%.
sees herself
Yes.
and faints.
Yes, that happens. We figured it out. Good. So that's
Yeah.
how she gets to the place.
Yeah, the police bring her there.
But then Biff steals the DeLorean soon after that.
Right. He must have stolen the DeLorean after the police
Yeah.
picked her up?
Yeah.
So they left the DeLorean there?
Yep, they left the DeLorean there.
Okay.
So, and then she sees herself in the present, and they just scream at each other, and they both faint.
Yes.
Jennifer and
They both faint, but
younger-
then I think
present Jennifer and older Jennifer scream at
But
each other.
Doc
and
Brown
faint.
is there. He's outside, and he immediately runs to grab, present
Present
Jennifer
Jennifer.
and takes her away.
Okay.
So that kind of resolves that, I guess.
Yeah. Future Marty's still fired, isn't he? They don't fix that.
No, they don't.
That's weird. That seems like it's something they'd want to fix. Maybe something in the past would fix. Whatever.
Well,
I'm
no, well,
kinda moving
because
past
then
it, but
then present Marty would know to just not do that deal,
I guess so.
because he was there to see it happen.
Okay.
I think.
We're only like 20% into the film.
So let's keep going.
Yeah, we have to mention that there's like a Jaws 13 poster that's holographic that bites
Yeah,
Marty.
yeah.
That's a big thing that like people would be mad at if we missed. I think.
They're making fun of the fact that they came out with like a
70
fourth
yeah.
Jaws
And it's a
movie
Spielberg
at that time.
production, and he's like making fun of himself.
Right.
Okay, so let's get to it. The almanac is in the past. Biff stole it.
So old Biff goes to young Biff.
That
And young Biff.
We don't see that until the future. Let's wait on that. a
Oh,
little bit.
really?
Yeah, that happens in
Okay.
like a backstory. So then we go back. We think everything's good. Marty and Doc get back to the present, and everything is different.
That's true. Yes, that does happen first. So Marty immediately goes to the home that he thinks is his home, and it's a totally other
Yes.
family. He like gets in bed with this like teenage girl, and she starts
Oh, yeah.
screaming, and then the dad runs in and like attacks him with a baseball bat,
Yep,
and he
that
like
happens.
runs away. Mm-hmm. How does he find out where to actually go?
I think that he might pass out again, like in Back to the Future 1, because he's going to end up in Lorraine's bedroom
Yes.
in his underwear again.
But it's in a tower. It's like Trump Tower.
It's Trump Tower. It's Biff's head on the top of the tower.
But in this world, like Biff is basically in control of like this whole city. It seems.
He has so
and the
much
entire
money.
city is just like there's cars on fire and like
Instead of Las Vegas, it's Biff Vegas.
yeah. So somehow he gets to Biff Tower.
I'm guessing he passes out like in the first one, and he just ends up naked in Lorraine's bedroom.
Okay.
Because they do
Sure.
the same kind of callback as in the first movie, where Lorraine and him are talking. But Lorraine has augmented herself. She got giant boobs.
Oh yeah.
Because Biff wanted, it's Biff's version of a perfect Lorraine.
It's Biff's world.
Yeah, he can do what he wants.
We're just living in it.
He gets it all.
But think about this, Lorraine. Who's gonna pay for all your clothes, huh? And your jewelry? And your liquor? Who's gonna pay for your cosmetic surgery, Lorraine?
You were the one who wanted me to get these things. If you want them back, you're gonna have them.
His mom starts taking care of him. Basically, she's
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like
She's a drunk alcoholic. She's doing everything
She's basically
she can.
the same thing that she was in the beginning of Back to the Future 1.
She's an empty husk of whatever person she could be, because
Right.
Biff has just sucked all the life out of her.
So at this point, Marty goes to talk to Biff, who is in his office.
He's in a hot tub at some point with two ladies.
Oh, okay. But
I
they
think Lorraine and Biff have a fight. Marty, something happens. I don't know what. But then let's go to Biff. Biff is with two broads in a hot tub. Marty confronts him about the almanac. That's when we get the office scene.
Yes.
Where Biff reveals the almanac in a safe
Right.
and talks to Marty about.
And you remember what he says?
Yeah, he says he tells him about how his past self got him the thing, but he also, or an old man. He doesn't
He
know
does
it
say an
himself.
old man.
He doesn't know that it was him that did it. He says an old man told me that if a kid or an old scientist came coming around
Asking about the
asking
almanac.
about the almanac, you need to kill him.
Yes.
shoot him.
And then he says, I never would have guessed it would have
Would
been
be you.
Oh, and he told me one more thing. He said someday a crazy, wild-eyed scientist or a kid may show up asking about that book. And if that ever happens... It's funny. I never thought it would be you.
Then Biff pulls a gun on Marty. Marty does the old, look at that. That always gets Biff.
The stupid switcheroo because Biff is just so dumb.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, look over there. And clearly it works. And so he just runs away from this point.
Yep.
As Biff's like trying to shoot at him.
Yep, he goes to the roof where Doc Brown is waiting with the DeLorean to save the day and get him out of there.
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
Yep. And I think that's where like the future ends.
Okay.
Because at that point they go to the past.
Well, that would have been the present, and then now they're going
yeah,
to
that's the alternate present.
right,
Yeah.
the alternate present. So now they officially go to 1955.
Correct.
From there,
And
I'm kind of fuzzy, but I think they immediately jump to seeing Biff.
Old Biff give young Biff the almanac.
They see it happen, or
Yeah, Marty's got like a sweet hat on. He's like spying on Biff.
oh,
he knows that
he's
he
wearing
has
like
to.
a trench coat and stuff.
Yeah, he has to get the almanac back from Biff. And that's when we witnessed the whole sequence of old Biff and young Biff next to each other in the car. Old Biff's explaining to him how the almanac works. He puts the radio station to a
Yep.
college football game. He picks out the almanac.
It's like a horse race.
Yeah.
And he's like,
No,
he's-
it's a score for a football game. It's like there's no way someone can score with that much. And then, like, I bet he wins by 6 points. And then they end up winning the game, like out of a miracle
Yeah.
shot. It happens. So.
And so he's like, every single one of these games you can bet on and you'll win.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
And young Biff.
I wish I had that.
I mean, that's
I wish
like
I had that power.
That's the one wish you'd want is the
Yeah.
future almanac. So, but young Biff is kind of doesn't take it seriously.
Young Biff is still a punk.
Yeah.
And he's a punk even to old Biff.
They call as soon as he gets to the car, is his car, which is like a Cadillac in a garage. Car guy Andy isn't here to tell us what it is, but he says that, "What are you doing to my car, you old butthead?" Or
Yeah.
something like that. He says, "Make like a tree and get out of here." And old Biff's like, "Make like a tree and leaf. It's make like a tree and leaf." So
And young Biff just doesn't
yeah,
get
he just
it.
doesn't get it.
He's an idiot.
But old Biff's wise beyond his years, is what I'm trying to say.
yes, he's grown
Yeah.
quite a bit.
So I think this is the day of the dance. I
Okay,
think this
same
is the night
day.
of the dance.
Oh, because Biff is out, so Biff is out driving at one point, and he
And Marty's
drives
in the
into
car.
a tunnel, and
Yeah.
Marty is hiding in the back seat.
Yep, he's trying to get the
And
almanac away from
because
Biff.
he's hiding underneath a blanket, and he's trying to reach for the almanac. I think in the passenger seat
Yep.
in this convertible.
Yep, and Biff sees it in
the
the
rearview mirror,
In the
yeah.
rearview mirror. He doesn't let on that he sees it. He gets Marty at a disadvantage somehow, like flings him over the hood or gets him out of the car. He does something that gets Marty gone.
And then he starts chasing Marty down, I believe.
No. Marty's in the car. They're fighting over the wheel. Why do I think he's going to run into another manure truck? It feels like that's the only way to get rid of Biff. That's his kryptonite. Manure truck.
Manure truck.
It's the only thing that can do it. That just does him in.
We just need a randomly placed manure truck right here.
But Marty has the hoverboard with him. And he uses the hoverboard like around the car. It's actually a really cool sequence. The hoverboard
Okay.
like slides under. He gets on the other side, comes out.
It's kind of the same situation as the manure truck in part 1.
Yep.
Okay.
Always manure. It's always manure.
You're right, it is his kryptonite. There's no other way to get rid of him.
There's no other way to get rid of a Biff.
Okay, so this is the part where I get very fuzzy. So
Okay.
you said it's the day of the dance.
Uh-huh.
Biff is obviously wearing like a tux or that white suit jacket that he
Yes.
has, and
Marty
So
has
from
to do
there-
something.
what is that?
I don't remember, but it ultimately ends up with the Biff's gang chasing him through the back of the Under the Sea dance.
Yeah, because the only thing I do remember is present Marty is in the rafters as young Marty is
Playing guitar.
below.
It's like the side of the story you didn't get to see in the first film.
Yes.
You see like the behind the scenes, like this was happening while this was happening.
Is there like a fist fight or something?
Marty drops sandbags on them.
Okay, I mean that's classic. That's a theater.
Yeah. There's
an
also
auditorium.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to loosen the reason why he has to do what he's doing. Can't quite get it yet, but Strickland, the principal from the first film, the bald guy, ends up stealing the almanac from young Marty,
Okay,
from present Marty.
from present Marty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a whole moment where he has to get that back from him. He sneaks into his office. He gets it. I think his hand gets slammed in the desk drawer. The principal like leans back on his chair, and he's right about to get the almanac, and it gets smushed in his hand. Like he can't quite get it,
Oh.
but he does end up getting it. But here's the kicker:
Okay.
Marty looks at the almanac. It's just like a nudie
Nudie
lady
mag.
magazine called Ooh La La. Because Marty says ooh la la about 8 times when he's looking at the photos.
Yes.
Ooh la la. Ooh la la.
Yes! No! Ooh la la! Ooh la la! Ooh la la!
So what happened to the actual almanac?
Biff has it still.
Oh, he duped him.
He duped him.
Why did Biff make a big deal about the almanac in the first place when he was getting it, when he got it stolen by
He just
Marty?
wanted Marty off his case, I think.
Okay,
It was more like Biff wants to kill Marty. That's like his main thing
sure.
that he can just never accomplish.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
So he has to steal it again.
Yes. Yes.
The jig is not up.
I think he takes it from. Okay, so yeah. So Biff, we still see Biff get knocked out by George in the same way that happens in the first movie.
Because there's only
Get your damn hands off her.
There's only one Biff.
Present Biff, yeah. There's only the one Biff.
Okay.
Get your damn hands off her. Biff gets knocked out. Present Marty steals the almanac from Biff there. There's a guy in the crowd, like, trying to help. He says, I think that guy just took his wallet. And he's like, that guy just took his wallet. Like, he thought Marty robbed Biff.
Hey, did you just take his wallet? He just took that guy's wallet.
Oh, okay.
Just a weird offhanded
then,
comment.
is this the part where...
I think this is where they get chased through the back of the auditorium.
Okay. He does the sandbag, rides the rope up.
Yeah, because he sees that those punks are going to interfere with the show. So I think...
because Marty's on stage.
So present Marty does the sandbag switcheroony, knocks him out, and then that's it.
This is amazing because it's Back to the Future 2 just tries to complicate the plot line of Back to the Future 1.
I think it's interesting the way it's not plot holes, but there's no, like, wrongdoing. Like, this could have happened in the background.
Yes.
They don't, like, do anything that screws up what happens in the first movie.
Right, which is great because they're looking at the first movie and they're like, okay, what characters are not on screen and what are they doing? Especially if we throw in a second Marty in there.
Let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, it's pretty genius. So after he knocks those guys out with the sandbag, is this when he runs to see
Doc?
old Marty in the DeLorean being taken away by Back to the Future? You know, the first movie. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
That came out muddled. Present Marty
Uh-huh.
sees past Marty from Back to the Future 1 ride off in the DeLorean to 1985. And then he shows up, and Doc is like, oh my God, I thought I just sent you to the future.
That's the very last thing that happens in the movie.
So there's other things
There's
that happen.
one more thing that happens.
Okay.
Doc gets
I was hoping you would say, I don't know.
Doc gets like zapped, or like the hovering DeLorean disappears somehow. Either Doc like just vanishes out of thin air, like they're trying to do something, get away, and Marty thinks Doc is dead. But there's rain pouring down.
Okay.
As soon as this happens, there's a guy with a telegram who shows up at the exact spot Marty is. And he has a telegram from Doc from the past saying that, oh, we didn't know, we thought it was a big joke. We had this letter here for like 100 years. And we kept passing it on from generation to generation. We didn't think anyone would actually show up to this spot, but here you are. This letter's for you. Are you Marty McFly? And he gets it. And it's a letter from Doc from the past saying that he's okay. And Doc's still alive. He's just in the past.
So he sees him get shocked, and he thinks that he dies from there?
I think he gets hits by lightning. Something happens with the DeLorean.
Okay.
Something funky happens with the DeLorean.
I'd have to see this scene
Me
to
too.
know
Me
exactly
too.
what this is. But I do remember the telegram
getting the
guy.
telegram. And then that's when he goes to see the Doc in the past, which your scene exists.
Got it. So
Because he's celebrating. He's like, I finally did it. The thing spinning around, out of time's going nuts.
Right.
But then suddenly,
Marty shows up
our Marty
again.
from Back to the Future shows up, and Doc Brown is so confused. He's like, no, I just sent you to the past. I sent you back to the future. He's like,
So-
no, you have to go.
Now what happens? Now how does
And now we the cue up into the third movie,
Oh.
where that Doc and that Marty have to go to the past, or that Marty has to go to the past with the DeLorean that they're gonna make in the 1955 version.
Oh, because our Marty is stuck now.
Yeah, there's no DeLorean anymore.
No DeLorean, but they know how to make the DeLorean. Or at least maybe Marty kind of does.
Well, but that's in the third movie. They end up finding it in a cave somehow.
Okay.
I can't
Yes, I
explain
do
it.
remember that because they're like being chased by like cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
Like right away.
That's the third movie. We're not here to remember the third movie.
Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty much our breakdown of Back to the Future 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we actually did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, I think there's some muddy parts.
Sure.
Does Doc? I don't know how Doc Brown dies. I know he just vanishes. He has to vanish in the DeLorean because he just doesn't have that.
Why would he vanish and why would he die? Something
He's
to
trying
do
to
with this-
escape Biff, maybe? I think Doc Brown is helping Marty try to get the almanac from Biff in that tunnel scene.
Yes.
And I think something maybe happens to Doc there.
I wish I knew.
Me too.
We'll probably have to just go watch the movie.
Figure out what we got right and what we got wrong
Yeah.
in part 2 of our podcast.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be really good.
If you like this podcast, you might like my other podcast, Top Rope Chef, a podcast about cooking and wrestling, where me and my other host, Jacqueline Maynard, are cooking through the WWF cookbook that came out in the year 2000. We talk about cooking, we talk about wrestling, it's a really fun time. TopRopeChef.com or search Top Rope Chef on any of your podcast apps. Thanks.
Is your name Marty McFly?
Yeah?
I've got something for you. A letter.
A letter for me? That's impossible. Who the hell are you?
Western Union. Actually, a bunch of us at the office were kind of hoping maybe you could shed some light on the subject. See, we've had that envelope in our possession for the past 70 years. It was given to us with the explicit instructions that it be delivered to a young man with your description, answering to the name of Marty, at this exact location, at this exact minute, November 12th, 1955.
We had a little bet going as to whether this Marty would actually be here. Looks like I lost.
Did you say 70 years?
Yeah, 70 years, 2 months, 12 days to be exact. Here, sign on line 6, please. Here you are.
It's from the dock! Dear Marty, if my calculations are correct, you received this letter immediately after you saw the DeLorean struck by lightning. First, let me assure you that I'm alive and well. I've been living happily these past 8 months in the year 1885. The lightning bolt... 1885! September 1885!
Wait, Ken, wait a minute. What's this all about?
He's alive! The Doc's alive! He's in the Old West, but he's alive!
Yeah, but Ken, you all right? You need any help?
There's only one man who can help me.
Welcome back to the Back to the Future podcast, part 2 of Back to the Future, part 2. Nailed it. Swish, swing, and a hit out of the park.
Didn't miss a single
Baby,
hit.
It's gone. We watched Back to the Future Part 2.
We watched it together,
We
too,
did.
which was nice.
We go together like boop dee 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 boop she boop.
These are things we can do in the studio, not at the main art.
Oh yeah, because we could do it in the main art. It'd be
Well, we
funny.
could. Yeah.
Yeah, we did the first part of this podcast in the main art, and this is in studio, obviously. So there's quite a few things in this movie that we did not remember
It's true.
that were explained to us. The first one being why Jennifer was there.
The explanation was she didn't need to be there.
So yeah, Marty's just straight up asked Doc Brown, hey Doc, why did we need to bring Jennifer? And he's like, well, she saw the time machine, and I just didn't want to leave her.
This brings up a lot of other questions.
A lot of other questions.
So, the first question that's very obvious is maybe they weren't sure if there was going to be a Back to the Future sequel when this
Maybe.
movie came out. So they
Maybe.
just wrote it that the adventure continues, kind of like a serial or something like that, or like a comic or something like that. Like the story will keep going on.
Yeah.
But also, why didn't they write a storyline
For
that
her?
involved her
I don't
in the
know.
story? Like that would have made more sense.
I have no idea.
And this is one of my favorite ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that I've seen both of them, Back to the Future 1 is much better. But I remember when I was watching this as a kid that number 2 used to be my favorite because
Yeah.
it jumped so much. It was going over.
Number 2 shows its age in a lot of different ways. It's not as well produced as the first movie. I'm just gonna say that
That's true. You can tell.
The production of pretty much everything, other than they do a good job on the costumes, but the background stuff is very odd. They just kind of threw everything they could at the wall.
Yeah.
Specifically in the future.
Although this movie should have been. The production should have been higher, like the budget should have been higher because the movie
Yeah, you would
original
think.
movie did so well.
But if they split
then-
the budget into 2 movies,
That's true. That's true. Maybe that's exactly what the reason was. Because
Could've
I
been.
feel like the third movie probably had a
all
bare
sets,
bones
yeah.
budget.
There was very little CG.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some stuff with the train, but
Right.
they really went to town with the split screen in this
And
one
they
in particular.
did. Yeah, and they shot 2 and 3 basically back to back. I read there was only a 3-week break in between both of those. So I guess that makes sense. They budgeted it that way.
I would have Jennifer lost in 1955 or something instead. Maybe she wants to, or something with her parents that they have to solve.
And
You know, she gets lost in the past,
She was
disrupts her
exci-
timeline, and then Marty and Doc got to fix it there. You know?
yeah, and she was excited too to see her future.
Yeah, she really
And
wanted to
then-
know like how her kids were and where she was living, and
Yeah.
if they had a big wedding.
I mean, they wrote themselves into a problem with the first movie, and then they just solved it by saying, well, we don't really have a solution. Let's just make it a Doc Brown and Marty movie again.
Could have been another way to do it. Before they even got into the DeLorean at the beginning of the movie, Doc Brown could have used that mind erase zapper gun that he uses while they're flying to the future, and just left her in the present. Would have been Would have solved a
Sure.
lot of problems.
And I'm wondering too if maybe the original actress, didn't want to come back because the script had nothing important in it. Like,
That's the feeling that I get.
yeah, like why would you come back to a movie that you're in for like 10 minutes?
Right, but Elizabeth Shue's like, I don't care. It sounds like I want to be in Back to the Future.
Yeah,
I like
and-
getting
and-
paid for movies.
Elizabeth Shue was young and she's probably just starting out, so maybe. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
this
she
was
did
like
the
a
Karate
good-
Kid. I think maybe like right before this.
Okay,
Kind of
okay.
broke out. Adventures in Babysitting was either right after or right
yes.
before this. And then
Yeah, probably the same time actually.
her big turn was in that Nicolas Cage
Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are the big shoes. Those are the big shoes to fill.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone has. You weren't gonna
Who
do
better
it.
than Elizabeth Shue?
You weren't gonna do it. So
Not
she had to
gonna
do it.
do it.
So Marty goes to the future to stop his son from doing some sort of vandalism.
His son gets bullied into committing a crime.
Yes.
And
from
basically
Griff,
from Griff, who is Biff's grandson.
Yeah, grandson. And oh my gosh, the overacting in the future is out of control.
They're all trying to be like a different version of their former self.
Yeah. We try to relive a lot of the things we loved from the first movie. There's Mayor Gordy Wilson Jr. signs on the wall. Him getting like a Pepsi from a weird Max Headroom type thing.
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah, there was some racism. There's a Libyan bot, I think, that like shows up.
Yeah,
There's two moments of like
100% don't
Libyans in the
understand.
future. Yeah.
It was like that was like Ayatollah Khomeini or something like that, or like the leader of Iran, the
I don't even
religious leader of Iran. And I was like, I don't even know what he's saying or why he's on screen at all.
Yeah, and he gets a Pepsi from them. And then Marty's son is a dweeb. Is he also named Marty, the son?
Oh,
Murdy McFly?
I don't know.
Murdy McFly Jr.?
He sounds
Yeah, and everything else happens except Griff and his gang. I thought the gang was the same Billy Zane group. It's a different group. There's a lady, even. And they end up flying into a museum, and they break all the glass in it, and they get arrested that way. And that's how Marty gets off scot-free.
Yeah, so
Great scot-free.
I don't even know if we know what crime is going to be committed.
Yeah. It says in the newspaper that he was arrested, but I
Yeah.
had to look at the details.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't either. It just brushed right over it, but we don't even get to that point. Basically, all that needs to happen is Griff just needs to get in trouble with the law so that this crime can't happen in the first place.
Yeah.
So they solved the problem of the
Sure.
movie like pretty much right away.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other problems that are created. So
Marty buying the almanac. and then-
he buys a sports almanac.
Oh, we forgot about
Yes.
present-day Biff seeing the DeLorean fly away.
That was like, yeah,
That was a big thing that
it's
needs
very
to
important
happen.
because it needed to happen right away too.
And they know it too, because that scene feels added in.
Mm-hmm.
You see it like it's just Biff at a single shot, him looking up at the sky talking about a DeLorean, and then him as an older person talking about a DeLorean he hasn't seen in like 30 years, a flying DeLorean he hasn't seen in 30 years, and that was the time.
And
he had seen it.
he overhears it and he learns that Doc Brown created a time machine. He's
Yep.
like, crazy Doc Brown created a time machine.
Marty and Doc are talking about it. They basically spill the beans. Biff's hiding in the shadows. Old Biff.
and then
that's-
he basically just picks up the plan that Marty had, take the sports almanac, give it to himself when he was
Right.
in the 50s.
Because Jennifer was right. She gets picked up. She goes back to their original house. Doc and Marty have to save her. That's when Biff goes in. And they play frightening music for no reason while Biff's stealing that DeLorean. And it's the same composer as Predator. And he won an Oscar for Predator and this movie. And I don't understand why they got the composer for Predator to do Back to the Future 2. I don't understand.
Although, if I'm remembering from our Gremlins episodes, that's the same composer there as well.
Oh.
So, because I remember reading through that.
That Steven Spielberg tie-in. Did
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg was
His
Steven
name-
Spielberg gonna do Predator? Well, that'd have been sweet.
I'll confess, never seen Predator.
Oh.
Never ever.
Oh no, that's a good one
Yeah.
to see.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody should in the world. It's a good movie.
So he goes back in time, but we don't even get to see old
No.
Biff go back in time
Not till later.
because those pieces need to come out
Yeah,
later
we
in the
talked.
story.
I think I mentioned that in the part one.
So when he's back at his home, or when Elizabeth Shue goes back to her home,
Yeah, it's not Crispin Glover. You're right.
it is not. He's upside down,
It's
too.
just an upside down guy pretending to be Crispin Glover.
He doesn't need to be upside down, but I think
No.
like that was their way of just making
Hiding
it so
him.
like,
It's
yeah.
weird and hiding him.
He's upside down. We kind of make him look like that. No one's going to know because he's upside down. You
It
can't.
might be Crispin Glover's voice. I don't know if it
I don't
is or
even
not,
think that's
but
true.
Yeah, it might not be. If so, Crispin Glover only shows up in the flashbacks.
Yes.
Or the 1955 scenes, I guess.
Oh, that's a good point. Is he even in the were scenes even shot of him, or did they just rip footage
I
from
don't
the old
know.
movie? I think they just ripped footage from the original.
I couldn't tell you. They might have.
I mean, obviously Leah Thompson.
Or are they getting like
is in
body
this.
doubles? There's some body
Sure.
doubles I could believe. They definitely could not body double Biff or Lorraine,
Right.
but maybe
So,
they couldn't get Crispin to come back.
what were your thoughts about Marty as a female in a wig?
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the scene where
Uh-huh.
Elizabeth Shue goes back home.
Go on.
And Marty,
Mm-hmm.
Michael J. Fox
Yes.
plays
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 people.
Well, 3. He plays old, present day, future Marty.
Sure.
He plays himself from 1985, and he plays his son. He plays 3 people.
And he also plays his daughter.
No, not true. That's not true.
You're just blocking this out of your memory.
Why would they do that? Was my question. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why they would do that. So I can't believe that they did.
Okay.
My brain won't allow it.
Your brain hurts just thinking about it.
And I feel like I'm not the only one out there that doesn't remember this being reality.
What is that? What is that called when?
Crossplay?
No, I was gonna reference. There's
the Berenstain
the
Bears thing?
Bernstein
Yeah.
Bears. Yeah,
It's
that
a
it's that
Mandela
situation.
effect, yeah.
Mandela effect. Yeah.
Sure.
It's not the Bernstein Bears. It's
The Berenstein.
the Berenstein Bears.
Mhm. Sam Berenstein Bears. I make that joke every time. So another actress, not Michael J. Fox, is the daughter.
Wrong. Keep going.
And so the Jennifers meet. There's some super babe police officers that drop Jennifer off. Just
Yes.
putting that out there.
Yes.
And there are babes all over this movie. Oh my gosh. If you're looking left and right for babes, you're going to find them.
It's Babe City up in there.
Oh my gosh. Back to the Future 2? Should have been Babe in the Big City is what they should have called this movie.
Back to the Future 2.
Babe in the Big City. Okay, now we go back to the present day. For some reason, Doc Brown doesn't realize there's graffiti all over the neighborhood and there's turned cars upside down.
Mm-hmm.
The entire world's in apocalypse because of Biff taking over. Marty does get into the wrong person's house. All this stuff happens.
Yep.
There's a biker gang. The whole city seems like it's under martial law of some kind, or at least this one. It's like Escape from New York.
It is totally Escape from New York. It's
Yeah.
any like apocalyptic city. There is a shot where police are driving down the street. There's like 3 cop cars that like pass by, and that's the only time you ever see any type of law.
Yeah, it's insane. The place really went downhill. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, Biff still wants to be in that city because he put his tower there.
Yeah.
Or when Marty blacks out, they take him somewhere else. That's a little unclear.
You know, can we jump back for a second?
Sure.
Because I want you
We
to
can
try...
jump back to the future.
Can we go back to the future
Mm-hmm.
and I want you to try to explain to me the situation with Flea
Okay.
and Marty and
So,
old Marty.
Here's what I believe Flea has some sort of insider trading deal that he's not supposed to be in knowledge of.
Okay.
We establish in this movie, not in the first one, I thought it was all 3 of the movies, but when Marty gets called chicken, he's basically push comes to shove and he has to do whatever that other person wanted him to do.
Okay.
So when Flea tells
This
him
is
about this
fatal
opportunity,
flaw.
when Flea tells him of this business opportunity that's a little bit shady, he calls him chicken for not doing it. Marty ends up doing it, and then immediately his boss finds out.
Yeah, you overheard the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know it was
And then gets fired.
insider trading.
I think it's like some sort of insider trading situation.
Hey, the Big M. How's it hanging, McFly?
Hey, Needles.
So,
Needles?
did you take a look at that little business proposal of mine?
I don't know, Needles.
What are you afraid of? If this thing works, it'll solve all your financial problems.
And if it doesn't work, Needles, I could get fired. It's illegal. I mean,
What if the Jits is monitoring, huh?
The Jits will never find out.
Oh,
Come on. Stick your card in the slot and I'll handle it. Unless you want everyone in Division to think you're chicken.
Nobody calls me Chicken Needles. Nobody!
All right. Prove it.
All right. All right, Needles. Ha. Here's my card. Scan it. I'm in.
Thanks, McFly. I'll see you at the plant tomorrow.
Thank you for using AT&T.
McFly!
Fujitsu-san, konnichiwa!
McFry! I was monitoring that scan you just interfaced. You are terminated!
Terminated? No! No! It wasn't my fault, sir! It was Needles! Needles was behind the whole
And you
thing!
cooperated!
No, I didn't! It was a
illegal.
sting
And
operation!
you
I was
knew.
setting them up!
Read my
No!
facts!
Please, no, I cannot be fired! I'm fired! Ah!
Also, Flea's acting was horrible.
Oh yeah.
It was really bad.
Everybody in the future acts awful.
Yeah.
Their acting is like even
It's like the second crew
even
shot
Leah
the
Thompson's
whole thing.
bad. And like, why would she be bad? She's great. It's almost as if they were intentionally told to act terrible.
Yeah.
Remember, like sleazy, like young Marty is a bad actor. That doesn't make any sense. Like Michael J. Fox is a good actor.
Yeah.
Why would he be acting? He even acts bad as the lady. Even Biff acts bad. Doesn't make any sense.
They're overdoing it.
Even future Doc is a little bit wonky.
But
And
I
he's
do
not even
remember I do remember when we were watching it and
Sure.
they went back to the past of the original
It
movie.
was great.
You immediately were like, "Oh, I love this."
The whole movie just changed on
it
a
did
dime.
change. It does flip for you.
Yeah. Not just for me.
Yeah, for me too.
For everybody.
Yeah.
The movie just becomes what it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted that. You wanted it to go back there.
Mm-hmm. The future stuff just seems off.
So let's go to the present where we
It
were.
even feels like it's moving too fast. I said it felt like it was in
Oh,
like
it-
1.1 times speed.
Yes.
I don't understand why everyone's so
Well,
talking
'cause-
so fast and things are happening so quickly.
Because the plot is just moving so quickly. I think they like
There's so much
overwrote the
exposition.
storyline.
They definitely overwrote everything. There's so much dialogue
Yeah.
in the beginning of this movie. There's got to be like 40 pages of dialogue just in the future bit.
I will say though, this movie is still entertaining. It's still fun to watch.
Yeah, but
I really
it
enjoy
does.
it.
But the first
still.
half is just not as good.
It doesn't. It pales in comparison to the original.
And the second half of itself.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. True. I would agree with you.
Yeah, there it is. The hot take.
Mm-hmm.
The future part of Back to the Future, not so good. The present, a little better. The past is the best.
The present is short, so he goes.
Well, most of the first movie takes
to-
place in the past too, and it's great.
Right.
Very little is in the present.
Right. I remember when we were talking about the first part, I remember saying like I only remember when he goes back to the past
Mm-hmm.
and then goes to the future. And then I don't remember the beginning or the ending of that movie.
I don't know why they just wouldn't either set the whole movie in the future. Maybe there's no plot line that they could figure out to do that, or they just had this great idea to do like a B-side of the first movie. They wanted both movies to happen, and they crammed them into one movie. There might be 4 Back to the Future films if we really think about it. if we cut this movie into half, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, if there were 4, they could have made made it less chaotic, and they could slowed it down. They could have added a storyline with
Yeah.
Elizabeth Shue, and it probably could have been a lot better.
This movie probably could have had a little bit more of a future and a little bit more of the present day, and then ended with them having to go back and stop Biff from getting the almanac, them solving the problem. It's still a good movie. It's just, there's a lot going on.
I feel like they thought they had a great idea, and they just stole it basically from like a classic paradox. They were like, okay, this is just a paradox. We're going to pull this out and just make it into a Back to the Future episode.
They close all the loops, in a way. I can't think of anything that's like really obviously bad.
They do close all the loops, but what
Other
you're,
than Jennifer
what you're
being left in
saying
the
is
present.
that they push the story a little too quickly to make that happen. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
And just go back in time and kill Biff. I kept thinking that. It's like, I know it's not part of their character, but like, that would solve it. If they just went back in time and killed Biff, that'd have been fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's against type, but you know.
They don't really knock him. They don't knock him down a peg. as much as they should.
Yeah.
They basically put him back in the same situation. I think the thing is, at the end of the first one, Biff's character is totally changed. He's like submissive
He's
to
neutered.
George McFly.
Mm-hmm.
But you see later on, and maybe in this one a little bit, he actually
Resents
is kind of
George.
back to the same way that he originally
Yeah.
was.
It
I
was
mean,
all
he's
front.
like mean to Marty. He's
Yeah, he didn't have any growth in the first film.
yeah.
Because he just reverts back to being old crotchety old man Biff.
Yeah, he should have stayed like that.
Happy,
I don't
happy
know.
in the future. Yeah, and they could have just had like Biff's Griff being like another nuisance of some kind.
Yeah.
Just kept it in the future. I don't know.
There's too much going on. This is more of a Biff movie than you like admit. I
So
guess.
yeah, it is quite.
It is a Biff
It is a
movie.
Biff movie. I would say the first movie's a Marty movie. This movie's a Biff movie, and the third movie's a Doc Brown movie. That's a great
Yeah.
analogy.
There it is.
I would say that. What was I gonna say? Something about. Oh boy, it just fell out of my head.
Is it have to do with the present?
Oh, I remember it now. So they have to go to the future to stop Marty from going to jail. There should have been a ripple effect that happened with that they would have had to have then solved, I think. Much like in the first movie, with Marty screwing up the thing with meeting Lorraine, and that would have been
Sure,
a
I
good
see what
plot
you're
line.
saying.
There should have been more problems in the future that would have stretched the movie out into just being of the future. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Because like anything that happens doesn't matter because they go back and change everything anyway. Marty he doesn't get fired. They
That
doesn't fire
whole
him.
situation didn't need
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah, and it doesn't because they retroly change everything.
I think if they should have just gotten rid of the whole plot line where Elizabeth Shue goes back to the home. That would have saved so much
Would have saved a
time,
lot
and
of
they
time.
could have probably done something completely different.
Yes.
Because all that storyline does is
Well, show that Marty's
afford-
family's a sad sack too. That they're like bad off.
Right.
They're essentially
Marty's
family from the first film.
Yeah, right in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have scrapped that and put something else in there, it would have been better. Because all it is a vehicle for old Biff to go
Yeah.
back in time to come back, which
Mhm.
really could have just taken Biff 1 minute.
Yep.
He could have done that in 1 minute, and that's it.
It should have been 1985 Marty and 2015 Marty working together with Doc Brown to stop Griff and old Biff from doing something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even Marty's son can get thrown in the mix somehow. And just have it's like a generation versus generation kind of film. There's a lot of ways to write this movie.
Yeah.
they just chose whichever one they wanted. I guess.
Unfortunately, we're not going to write it because it
No.
already exists.
Right. Back to the Future 4, maybe set it all in the future. I don't know. They keep wanting to go to the past for some reason.
I would love to see another Back to the Future. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, we can watch Back to the Future 3. That's like seeing another Back to the Future.
There it is. I will say I don't remember a ton about Back to the Future
yeah.
3.
It's fun. It's an Old West romp. Mad Dog Biff. He's great.
So when we're back to the present now, he goes to Biff's casino.
Yeah, we get all the exposition through television sets.
Yeah.
Of how Biff got his fortune. He's essentially just Donald Trump.
Exactly.
He's 100% Donald Trump.
They pretty much say he won his first big bet, and it looks like it's like the day that he got the almanac.
It was a couple years later, if I'm not
was it?
mistaken. Because it was 1977, I thought, when he hit the fortune. Oh, no, that's when Marty's dad died.
It is, which we forgot. So
Yeah.
in the present, what happens is Biff actually shoots George McFly.
Oh, yeah.
And basically ends up with Lorraine like he always wanted to.
But he ends up changing her, giving her big tits, and
Yeah.
she's just not the same Lorraine. I don't know.
Sure.
And he ends up flirting with floozies anyway, so I don't even know why Biff keeps her in the picture.
Control.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, he
something
just
that he
likes it.
wanted from his childhood.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah. Or
Arrested Development.
Yeah. So in that timeline, basically Marty is like his stepson
Yeah, and he's living in
Which I totally
Switzerland or something
forgot.
like that. He's living in some other country.
in a boarding school. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Swiss Alps or something like
And
that.
Biff thinks that he got thrown out, but he's just Marty from the present. So they have to figure out when Biff got the almanac in the present, and that's all they really have to do as a goal.
Right, which is kind of like he's so forthcoming about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I guess
It's a
it makes
convenience
sense. It makes sense that he tells him like specifically the whole detail because he knows he's going to shoot him at the end.
Sure.
But I was like, he's like a little too forthcoming about this information.
So whether or not you like it or hate it, it exists in movies and television where a villain has to be honest about a plot that they're doing. Think of any episode of Law and Order SVU or anything, any sort of cop drama. When the police have the guy in custody, it's like, we know you did it. He has to confess because he could just lie the whole time and it would just be ambiguous for the audience. We wouldn't get any sort of reward from it. So it's something that just carries in through all media. I'm sorry if I broke that glass window for you, but
so
you're gonna notice it a lot.
You need the motivation.
You need the villain to be
explanation of the motivation.
You need the villain to admit that he's doing something wrong, or like he needs to admit fault,
right?
Or else the heroes can't win.
I guess the explanation has to be there because then it gives the character a dimension. Like it gives it explains their backstory, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Am I saying that?
A little bit, yeah. But it also, I mean, him telling that he shot George McFly, I mean, that was ambiguous, and him telling us that is good because it makes us, as an audience, confirm that he's a bad guy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had our suspicions, but now they're confirmed.
Right. So, the one thing that you can notice from this is present-day Biff, whether it's in the past, the present, or 2015, that Biff, the Biff we know, is always fooled by the, hey, what's that over there?
Yep, even Biff's bullies are fooled by that.
But Griff learned from that.
He did. Marty tries to do it on Griff, and Griff catches his hand.
Yeah.
Marty's very surprised.
So that's like kind of Biff's fatal flaw. He's just an idiot. Like you could just distract his attention to something else.
Make like a tree and get out of here. It's about as useful as a screen window on a battleship.
On a submarine, you idiot.
Yeah, Biff, he just wasn't dealt with a full deck of cards, Poor guy.
So that basically saves Marty's life.
There just needs to be a Lady Biff out there, I think.
Yeah, Lady Biff?
Yeah, it needs to be a Lady Biff.
Reboot?
Reboot it. The lady Back to the Future.
Oh, as long as the story's good.
It won't be. Martha McFly is hanging out.
Just write a good story.
Yeah, we'll set it in the past, first of all. Set it in 1985.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be dope.
What if, Doc Brown,
What if it was an alternate universe? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doc Brown has to come in and do something with Lady Marty.
There it is.
There's the movie, Back to the Future, reboot.
That sounds great.
Bang, bam, 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 bam.
I mean, I kind of want to know, what happens with Doc Brown and Marty as they keep moving forward. I mean, because, what we get in this one is...
Well, at the end of the third movie, he ends up with Jennifer, and then Doc Brown ends up with Mary Steenburgen. I don't know her character name, but...
Yeah, and their 2 kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the train. The love train.
Don't make it that storyline. Don't make it Doc Brown's kids.
Unless Doc Brown's kid is, a crazy inventor guy. I don't know. It seems cool. Maybe he finds his uncle's or his dad's plans for the time machine, rebuilds it, and doesn't know what he's going to do with it.
Ooh.
There could be something there.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like Doc Brown left
and
all
then
that
Marty,
behind.
Michael J. Fox becomes the mentor character.
Oh, that sounds good.
That sounds like a movie.
That sounds good. Do you think Michael J. Fox would do it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Give him a limited role, or just do CG. Like they do in movies now, where they just turn actors into CG.
Oh, that's so sad.
It'll happen. I mean,
It's gonna happen.
If Robert
with the next
Zemeckis is making it,
Star Wars movies.
Yeah, if Robert Zemeckis is doing the movie, people are gonna be CG. He loves putting CG people in films. Polar Express and Beowulf. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No.
It's creepy.
I don't like it.
It's Uncanny Valley.
It's not something we'll ever be able to achieve, and we just shouldn't do it. It's never going to be good enough. You're always going to notice. Mm-hmm. We talked about this in the Rogue One episode. I was the only one that was... Andy Hubert was convinced that he looked good. I was so against it.
I think it looked good for CGI, but did it look like a human? No. I think that's where the argument just that's it.
Bring it back to this movie, if it's an old person or a young person, they're just doing makeup on them.
Yeah.
And it's looking good.
Yeah. They could have just, I guess they could have, in Star Wars, they could have just had someone play Princess Leia.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
They could have found someone that
There's
looked
enough
like
lookalikes,
her.
I'm sure.
Sure. And then they could have just dubbed over her voice.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Would have been fine.
Yeah. People would have been okay with that.
I think so.
So now the story is explained to Marty. He is running away from Biff and his bullies. They get to the roof, and this is where Marty basically jumps off the roof onto the car.
Yep. And they fly
now
back
they're
to
like,
the
we
past.
need to go get...
Because they know the date now.
Mm-hmm. And I think from here we pretty much...
Nailed the movie. I'm trying to think if there's anything that slipped through the cracks. I don't think there was. Other than Marty's sweet spy outfit.
Yes. He's wearing a really cool punk jacket.
We gotta talk about that. Doc Brown says get something inconspicuous.
Mhm.
And he gets the most conspicuous thing he can find.
It's a cool outfit.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely another version of, like, if you want to dress up as Marty, you can do this Marty.
Yeah.
It's red shirt, black jacket, black hat, glasses.
And a walkie-talkie.
Mm-hmm. And sweet walkie-talkie. Those walkie-talkies, man, they work so well.
We should, for one Halloween, dress up like
all the Martys.
All the Martys from all three movies.
Sure.
I would dress up as that Marty.
Yeah, I mean, I think Old West Marty would be the hardest just because of the costume logistics, but...
Yeah,
You can
it'd
make
be
it
hard to
happen.
like pin. Well, if you get that pink outfit that he wears.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
Oh my God, you would have it like set. What about
Wear that poncho with the metal plate underneath it. You'd be
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah. There it is. I'm gonna do that.
And then next year we'll do all the Biffs, and then the next year we'll do all the Doc Browns, and then
better start going to the gym.
And there's only one Jennifer we can do because their outfit never changes.
Yeah.
So she's just wearing some tight pants and a nice shirt.
Yeah, her storyline never started. So, yeah, and this movie, if we want to just jump to the end.
Yeah, let's just confirm the things that we thought happened.
Sure.
So, yeah, at the very end, it's the chase scene with Marty trying to get the almanac back in the tunnel.
Mhm.
And then playing chicken with the hoverboard. So that's like almost the very last thing that happens. The guy stealing the wallet was good. I remember you laughing at that.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
I love
knew
like
it was gonna be
repetitive
good.
jokes.
I
like
knew it was
that.
going to be good. I also mentioned it right now so I can play the clip.
He even like the best part is he looks right at the camera and he says it again. He says it like 4 or 5 times.
He says it 4 times. He says it 4 times. The Doc Brown meeting Doc Brown, I guess we forgot to talk about.
Yeah.
He meets him. He asks for like a socket wrench that's the wrong size. And he's like, "Oh,
don't you mean
3/4?" Oh yeah, I guess I did. How did you know that? It's like, "Oh, I don't know. Weather experiments." Yeah.
They look right at each other at one point though and don't really recognize each other.
Oh yeah, past Doc Brown's oblivious to what's going on. He's too concentrated in his work.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's curious though.
Oh yeah.
He's curious.
Curious case of Benjamin Button. That's what he is. Curious George, that Doc Brown. What was the other Libyan reference? There was one other Libyan reference.
I don't remember.
Libyan television, when like Marty comes in to the house in the future. He says something about Libyan artwork or Libyan something or other. Anyway, Libyans are very important to Back to the Future. I never realized it. It's the point I'm trying to make. I thought it was just like a one-off thing that happened in the first movie, but they carried into this one for whatever
They didn't need
reason.
to.
Yeah, I don't know. We were at war with them at the time, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think that's maybe the only reference because in the diner 80s or cafe 80s, I think that's an Iranian thing. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
It looks like him, and
I don't know what's going on.
I think that was a big thing that happened with Reagan and Iran,
there were
like,
some
right
weird
as
political
Jimmy
things in Back to the
Carter-
Future that I didn't realize, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Crispin Glover does play Ronald Reagan, doesn't he? Isn't
Yeah.
that him? Isn't that Crispin Glover playing Robert?
In that scene?
Yeah, in the television.
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought it was.
I think it's just a Max Headroom like makeup, just to.
Okay.
It's like rubbery and.
It looks like Crispin Glover to me, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong about everything so far, except there being a Lady Marty, which there was not.
Yeah, that's true. You were wrong. And
Doc Brown dying. He just gets hit by lightning, and the DeLorean disappears. Gets zapped to the
It
past.
disappears into a 99. Did you see that?
I did see that.
What's that all about?
I don't know. It could have just been like the swirly swirls of the car wheels going off, or it could have been some sort of hidden message.
Yeah. Tweet at us.
Maybe
if you are following us at
Does
all.
it go back to 1799? I don't know.
Yeah. The last weird thing about this is it wraps up the movie by showing you clips of the next movie, which I hate.
I didn't remember that happening.
I hate that.
The movie ends with the trailer for the third movie.
I don't like that.
That's
don't want to
never
see
happened
it.
ever. What would you do if Lord of the Rings ended that way? You'd be so confused.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of that.
They tried something, I guess. They tried to drum up their own publicity. It's like, oh, we don't have
They
to pay
didn't
for the
even
trailer.
need to.
Well, it's a free. It's smart marketing if it didn't make everyone angry, which it did to us. Because they don't have to
wondering
waste
if-
money on more trailers because they just jammed it in the back of their movie.
Is this Universal that made this?
Oh yeah, the Universal Studios, the rides. I'm
They
assuming
might have just forced them to do it if they're shooting it back to back. They're like, we have footage of it, just put it in there.
some producer one day was like, "Yeah, we're gonna stick it in there," and Robert Zemeckis is like, "Don't do that," and like, "Okay, we won't," and then they did.
Oh,
I'm
'cause
guessing
they-
like something like that happened.
They own the movie.
Mhm.
They can do whatever they want.
That'd be nice. That'd be like my first question I'd ask Spielberg or Zemeckis if I ever like Reddit Q&A'd them or something.
Sure,
Just boom.
sure.
Try to hit them up with that. It's like, why did that happen?
And then I follow up with, what's the 99 about? And they're like, oh, Jesus, it's not a 99.
One of these guys. It was just the thing going off. I don't know. It looked good.
Illuminati! So the original movie came out in 1984?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this movie came out in 1989.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why it took so long to make that film.
I don't know. What were Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg doing between the two?
That is a good question.
We've got some Indiana Jones, right? 89. Right, same year as this movie. with
Robert
Spielberg.
Zemeckis, he might have done Romancing the Stone, or maybe that was before. I think that was before.
Or Return of the Jewel of the Nile.
He definitely, yeah.
So-
Unless that was in the 90s.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't know. 5-year gap. It seems all right. It's something they would do now. I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. You figured they would just pump them out. There are
Yeah.
certain movies in the 80s, it's like...
Get a sequel going right away.
Yeah,
We need
right
it.
away, right away.
Get these Jaws movies going. We don't care what they look like.
Jaws 19, here we go.
Maybe that's why Spielberg didn't want to do sequels. Or, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to do sequels, and there was just enough money to be like, okay, we can't turn it down.
I don't know if I would agree with that because they're
No?
pumping out sequels. I mean, Indiana Jones right there. They
Yeah.
did Temple of Doom before they did, or at the same time they did Back to
Sure.
the Future.
I don't know. I have to
Star
talk
Wars.
to Robbie Z. Only he's got the answers.
It's true.
Or
It's
Michael
true.
J.
When are we going to get them on the podcast?
Robert Zemeckis or Michael J. Fox or anyone involved with any of the Back to the Future films, listen to this podcast.
Yeah, tweet at us. We know
At
you
What We
follow
Remember.
us.
If you have an IMDb credit that verifies that you worked on this movie, we'll talk to you.
If you have a check next to your Twitter name.
You are verified. We want you on here.
That's it, though.
Yeah, that's it.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Tell us what you think about the beginning.
Yeah, that's weird. It's just a little fast.
Yeah.
It's just a little less stuff happening.
We
Little
would
too many
love to
things
hear
going
from
on.
you folks.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We should start, if people do tweet at us, we should start reading out some quotes or thoughts.
Yeah. If it happens, we'll do it.
Yeah,
It
why
hasn't
not?
happened yet.
We'd love to open this conversation.
You can find us on social media, twitter.com/whatweremember, facebook.com/whatweremember, whatrememberpodcast@gmail.com. Send us any thoughts or questions you might have on any of our episodes, and we may read them on the show. The movie in our next episode has the tagline, "Some very funny business." It'll be our Christmas episode. We're going to be talking about trading places.
I had the most absurd nightmare. I was poor and no one liked me.
I know what you're thinking. You see Porgy and Bess? We can make it, baby. Me and you.
Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy are trading places.
Help! Help! Hey, I don't want your bag, man. Help! 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 Help!
I'll bet that man could run our company as well as your young Winthorpe.
Are we talking about a wager, Randolph?
Is there a problem, officer?
Oh, Winthorpe. I'm glad your parents are not alive to see this.
What the, wait, now this is totally preposterous. I'm not a thief.
Here we are. We William.
Take off your clothes.
You are making a career decision here.
Take off your clothes.
Did you hear what this man said to me? I have witnesses. This man is physically threatening me.
Hey, Randy, Monte, this is nice. I like this.
We are commodities brokers, William. Commodities are agricultural products, like wheat, which is used to make bread, pork bellies, which is used to make bacon, which you might find in a bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich.
I'm considering going long on April wheat. What do you think, Valentine?
Freeze, slimeball!
Moi?
Put that gun away at once, Winthorpe. You lost your mind?
Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy. They're not just getting rich, they're getting even.
Do you have any better ideas?
Yeah, you know, it occurs to me that the best way you hurt rich people is by turning them into poor people.
Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy. Ralph Bellamy,
We've got to get Wilson and tell him to sell!
Don Amici,
Randolph, this isn't Monopoly money we're playing with.
Denham Elliott,
What a scumbag.
and Jamie Lee Curtis.
By the way, food and rent, not the only things around here that cost money. You sleep on the couch.
Trading Places. Coming in June from Paramount Pictures.
South on in April of 142!